guys, Robert here. Today I'm going to be doing some carbon fiber repair work on my Jet RDO from Niner. And here's what we're working with right here. I've already peeled back some of the fiber with a scraper, and you can see the gouges close here. Also, I don't know if you can see, clear coat has begun to crack, so that is something that needs to be taken care of anyway. I'm not going to worry about the bottle mounts. Quite frankly, I've never used them. I'm just going to carbon over there. It's just going to make it a lot easier. I don't need them, so I'm going to cover them and keep it easy. I am most certainly not an expert at carbon fiber repair, hence the name of my channel, Mountain Biking for the Rest of Us. I have done this on one other bike, my Ibis Ripley. I actually had to do it twice because the first time I messed it up. This is not an easy process. It might look easy, but there's some details that need to be ironed out. It also depends on where you're doing the repairs on the bike. As an example, if it was just the down tube or the top tube, pretty easy because it's just a wraparound. But when you've got angles and cuts, it become a lot more tricky. But anyway, let's get to it and we'll see how it turns out. This is the material we'll be using. Over on the left is the carbon fiber application materials to protect the bike, etc. I've got these various tapes and plastic wrappings. Going to use this when I sand the carbon fiber. It's a lot of small particles. You don't want to be breathing that in, so I'm using the respirator there. And then the orbital sander, there's different grades of sandpaper I'll use. And after, we will spray both a paint and then a clear overcoat. See, there's still a little flaking here, but again, that's not so important. We'd rather leave it there and fill it in with the carbon fiber and take more material off. Next, we're going to use the isopropyl alcohol. We want to really make sure that we get all of the dust particles off. Anything that could potentially contaminate the carbon fiber epoxy. Okay, so here is the carbon fiber itself. It's in a roll, and I'm going to overlay it just a bit and cut it back. We'll start with this patch. This is going to be one of two patches we're going to use. So I'm going to actually shift this one over a bit to the left, and the other one will shift over top of this to the right. The first project I did, I had some product that was absolutely terrible, which really ruined the job. That's why I had to do it twice on the same bike. Super tricky to work with. Okay, so we got that cut. Now we're going to work on our epoxies. We're going to do a 2-to-1 mix on these, laminate resin and the epoxy hardener. The cup we're going to use has its own measurements. So in this instance, it's 1 ounce of the epoxy and 2 ounces of the laminate resin. Okay, you want to mix this up real well. This is going to be way more than we're going to need. This will be the last time I'll use it anyway. Okay, that should do the trick. I'm actually going to cut another piece this size because we will need 2. See how it frays so easily? Also want to put some of this epoxy directly onto the frame. It's a nice thick coating on there to get the adhesion started. Just lay this down. I'm going to send it over to the one side here. And then we overlay the other. Going on very nicely here. Put a little bit more resin on there. Gonna dab it like this. Okay, same for the other side. I'll do one more small piece for that end section there. Making a big mess. Again, don't be shy on putting the resin on there. One thing about this project is you're not going to get it looking like it was new. For me, this is really protection more than anything. Luckily, it's on the bottom bracket, so you're not going to see it. If you need to do it in an area you're concerned with making it look perfect as a first time, it's impossible. You can get it looking decent with a lot of attention, like new. Not going to happen. Okay, that's it for getting the resin and the carbon fiber on. Next step is the shrink tape to remove all of the resin. Next step is the shrink wrap that I will wrap around the carbon fiber repair area. The idea here, once I wrap it entirely around the carbon fiber, I will get a hair dryer, or you can use a heat gun, and it will shrink the tape around, which will squeeze out all of the resin, allowing it to dry correctly as well as to have the strongest bond. First, I'm going to cut a long piece, tape the shrink tape here. The reason why is this makes it easier to wrap it around. Okay. You don't have to make it too tight initially, because that will be the purpose of the hairdryer, heating it, where this will shrink. And like this. Just overlapping, maybe a quarter of the tape. The tape itself is so brittle, it's not very pliable, making it challenging to work with. Okay, now we're going to put the heat on the tape. As you can see, I've already taken off the shrink tape. So we'll give it 24 hours to dry, come back tomorrow, and if all goes well, we'll begin the sanding and final painting coat. Okay, so here we have 24 hours later. Very, very hard. As you can see, this section here needs to be cut back. So I'm getting ready to do the sanding. I'm not gonna do much sanding here, just a brief overlay. I maybe leave this raw carbon fiber, it looks pretty nice. But over here I've got some work to do. I can't leave it like this. So I'll sand this down and blend it with the black paint I'm actually gonna put over top here. Okay, so I've prepped the area to be painted. First I cleaned it with the alcohol, and then I went in with the tack rag in order to get any particles off so there's no contamination. I'm going to spray paint the black. It's a paint and primer, it's gloss black. I'll do maybe 3 or 4 coats of this, followed up by the clear coat. Okay, let's get started. Okay, we get one thin coat to start it off. You don't want to put too much spray paint on there initially, as it will run. "24 hours has elapsed. So let's peel this off and get to the next step. You want to sand this down just lightly to rough it up a bit. Get off any uneven marks. Also allow it to be tacky for the application of the clear coat. Okay, here's the clear coat application. I'm going to put 4 coats on the area that I've uncovered, and let's get to it. Here's the second coat. We've allowed it to dry for 20 minutes, and now third coat comes. And last but not least, the 4th and final coat. So here's the end result. It doesn't look too bad. I purposely left it the raw material because this is on the down tube and the bottom bracket, so I was actually using it not solely for repair but also for additional protection, which is why I put 2 layers on here. Looks halfway decent. Mission accomplished. Here's a last look at the work with the bike fully assembled. Really what it looks like is a carbon fiber protection plate, like it was inserted over top of there. So it really worked for what I was hoping it to do, and that is to protect the bike from additional rock hits that were actually damaging the frame itself. Yeah, it doesn't look so bad. It blends in nicely with the overall look of the bike. I hope you found the video useful, and as always, this is your intrepid traveler, Roberto, over and out.